Welcome to Mastering MEL For Maya, a free companion to my popular Python for Maya course, linked in the video description below. In part 8 of our video series, we'll go over functions. Functions are a way to package up our code into reusable parts. Just like we can take Maya commands and organize them into more advanced scripts, we can turn our scripts into functions that can be combined to make larger scripts. Let's create a new tab to explore functions. Hit the little plus tab icon and select MEL. We define functions using the proc keyword. We then give it the type that the function can return. So we can say string. This is completely optional. The next part is the name of the function, so I'm going to say my proc. Then we give it parentheses. Within these parentheses, we can tell it what kind of arguments it takes. Currently, I'm going to leave it empty. Then, we define the body of the function using curly braces, just like we would if we were using an if statement or a for loop. So we'll say print hello inside of this. And currently, I don't want my function to return anything, so I'll get rid of that. If I was to run this now, you can see that nothing happens, other than it giving me a warning because I've defined this function earlier. To use this function, I need to call it just like I would call a Maya command, except you need to use these parentheses. If I run this now, you can see that it prints out hello, which is what my function was designed to do. If you want our function to return a value, you need to define the type that it returns. So I'm going to say it's going to return int, and we'll tell it to return 22. The return keyword tells the function what it needs to give back to anything that calls it. So if I now run this, and I run my function name again, you can see that it prints out hello, and it gives us a result of 22. And we can store this inside of a variable by saying int myvar is equal to myproc. And now, if I was to print out myvar, it prints out 22. We can also give functions arguments. Over here, I'm going to add an argument to it. I'm going to say string, which is the type of our argument, and I'm going to say username, which is the name of the argument. Inside the function, we can refer to this argument using the variable name that we declared it with. So I'm going to say print hello plus username. If I was to now run this, you can see that it errors because I haven't provided my function with the argument. So inside of myproc, just put a little string, and I'm going to give my name. If I now run this, you can see that it says hello throw. We can change this by giving another name, like Bob, and you can see that it says hello Bob. This means that we can reuse our code and simply pass it variables later. Let's convert the code that we wrote earlier and give it the lock node as a parameter to the function. So let's copy all of this. And over here, let's create a new proc. So I'm going to say proc, and I'm going to call it rig nodes. And in the parentheses, I'm going to say int lock. And in the curly braces, let's paste our code. I'm going to indent it just for formatting. And anywhere we use lock node, let's just convert it to lock. And we can get rid of where we declare it inside of this function. So now, we get the value of lock whenever the function is called. So let's call this function, and we'll say rig nodes, and we'll give it 0. Let's run this. And nothing happens. That's because we have nothing selected. Let's create a few objects. And let's select some of them, and run them with the lock option set to false.
You can see that it's created the circle, but we can also continue to move the object within it. If we now select the other objects and tell it to lock it by giving it the value 1, you can see that we can't move the object inside, but we can move the circle. Oops. Sorry, in this instance, the circle is the same size as my sphere. Let's choose this one instead. And you can see that the cone is not able to move.
If you're interested in learning more about programming inside of Maya, check out my popular Python for Maya course, which is linked in the video description below.